The story of Freddie Mercury. Introduction. The legend begins. Imagine a man with a voice so powerful that it could shake stadiums. A performer so unique that people around the world still talk about him decades after his death. A man who wasn't just a singer, but a showman, a rebel, and a dreamer. That man was Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury wasn't born famous. He wasn't born into money. He didn't grow up in a big music city like London or New York. He was born on a small island, and his journey to the top was full of challenges. But through it all, he stayed true to his passion for music and his belief in being himself. This is the story of Freddie Mercury. A story about talent, courage, love, and music. A story that shows how one man with a dream and a microphone changed the world of rock forever. Chapter 1: A Boy Named Farrick. Freddie Mercury was not his real name. He was born Farrick Bulsara on September 5, 1946, in Zanzibar, an island off the coast of East Africa. His parents were from India, and they followed the Zoroastrian religion, one of the world's oldest faiths. Farrick was a quiet but curious child. He loved music, and he showed signs of talent from a young age. His parents noticed this and sent him to a boarding school in India when he was 8 years old. There, he learned to play the piano and even formed a school band called the Hectics. At school, Farrick was shy, but when he played music, something changed. He became confident. He became alive. Music gave him a voice when words failed him. In 1964, when Farrick was 17, his family moved to England to escape political unrest in Zanzibar. It was a big change. The weather was cold, the culture was different, and Farrick had to start all over again. But one thing didn't change: his love for music. He went to art school in London and studied graphic design. He dressed differently, acted boldly, and spoke with charm. People either loved him or didn't understand him, but that didn't stop him. He knew who he was becoming, even if others didn't see it yet. Chapter 2: Becoming Freddie Mercury. In the late 1960s, Farrick met musicians Brian May and Roger Taylor. They were in a band called Smile. When their singer left, Farrick stepped in. He changed his name to Freddie Mercury and suggested they rename the band to Queen. The name Queen was bold, dramatic, and royal, just like Freddie. He wanted something grand, something unforgettable. He even designed the band's logo himself, using signs of the zodiac for each band member. In 1973, Queen released their first album. At first, not many people paid attention. But Freddie didn't give up. He believed the world was ready for something new, something big. Then came the hits: Killer Queen, Somebody to Love, We Are the Champions. Freddie's voice could go from soft whispers to thunderous power in seconds. On stage, he wore flashy clothes, moved with energy, and made every person in the crowd feel like they were part of the show. Freddie Mercury wasn't just singing songs. He was telling stories. And millions of people were listening. Chapter 3: Rising to Fame. By the mid-1970s, Queen had become one of the most popular rock bands in the world. Their music was everywhere, on the radio, in stadiums, and in people's hearts. And at the center of it all was Freddie Mercury. In 1975, the band released what would become their most famous song, Bohemian Rhapsody. It was unlike anything people had ever heard. It mixed rock, opera, and drama into one unforgettable song. Many thought it was too strange, too long, or too risky. But Freddie believed in it. He said, "It's either going to be a big hit or a big failure." It was a huge hit. Bohemian Rhapsody stayed at the top of the charts for weeks and became one of the most iconic songs in music history. It showed the world that Freddie Mercury wasn't afraid to take chances, and that he had the talent to make those chances pay off. Freddie didn't just want to make music. He wanted to make magic. Every song, every concert, every costume was carefully thought out. He saw the stage as his kingdom and the audience as his family. Chapter 4: A Showman Like No Other. Freddie Mercury wasn't just a singer, he was a performer. When he walked onto the stage, all eyes were on him. He wore tight pants, dramatic jackets, and sometimes even a crown and cape. He moved like a dancer, played the piano with passion, and sang with his whole heart. One of his most famous performances was at Live Aid in 1985. It was a global concert watched by millions. Queen's performance that day is still considered one of the greatest live shows of all time. Freddie's energy, voice, and connection with the crowd made it unforgettable. He had the power to turn a giant stadium into a sing-along. Songs like Radio Gaga, We Will Rock You, and Don't Stop Me Now weren't just music, they were moments of unity. People of all ages and backgrounds joined in, singing and clapping together. Freddie's music brought people together like never before. He once said, "I won't be a rock star. I will be a legend." And he was right. Chapter 5: Love, Secrets, and Struggles. Freddie Mercury's life wasn't always full of lights and applause. Behind the scenes, he had personal struggles like everyone else. He was a private person, especially about his relationships. He had a deep friendship and romantic connection with a woman named Mary Austin. Even after their romantic relationship ended, they remained close. Freddie once said, "All my lovers asked me why they couldn't replace Mary, but it's simply impossible." In the 1980s, Freddie was diagnosed with HIV, which later developed into AIDS. At that time, there was a lot of fear and misunderstanding about the disease. Freddie chose to keep his diagnosis private for many years. He continued to make music, perform, and create art even as his health declined. On November 24, 1991, Freddie Mercury passed away at the age of 45. The world lost a shining star, but his music, and his spirit, lived on. His death brought attention to AIDS and helped reduce the stigma around the illness. It also inspired others to be open about who they are and to live boldly. Chapter 6: A Legacy That Lives Forever. Freddie Mercury may be gone, but his legacy is everywhere. His songs are still played on the radio. His performances are watched on YouTube. His voice still gives people chills. In 2018, the movie Bohemian Rhapsody brought his story to a whole new generation. It became a global hit, winning awards and reminding people just how incredible Freddie was. He was more than a singer. He was an artist, a dreamer, a trailblazer. He showed the world that it's okay to be different. That being yourself is the greatest power of all. Freddie once said, "The most important thing is to live a fabulous life. As long as it's fabulous, I don't care how long it is." And fabulous it was. Freddie Mercury's story teaches us to be bold, to follow our passions, and to sing our own song, no matter what the world thinks. Because in the end, we are all champions. And Freddie Mercury will always be the champion of our hearts. Final chapter: Long Live the Queen. Freddie Mercury showed the world that music has no limits. He broke rules. He broke hearts. And he built a legacy that still shines bright. He taught us that it's okay to be different. That it's okay to dream big, sing loud, and live boldly. Whether you're learning English, enjoying great music, or just curious about this incredible man, his story stays with you. So the next time you hear Bohemian Rhapsody or We Are the Champions, remember the man behind the music. Remember Freddie Mercury, the voice that shook the world. And as Freddie might say, the show must go on.